Hello and welcome to Scholar Ready. Thank you for watching this video or passing this video along to someone you care about. Scholar Ready prepares families and students for their next academic level. Usually that means better test grades, better grades in class, and higher education. Scholar Ready offers test preparation, meaning we prepare students for the PSAT, the SAT, and ACT. We also help students to write essays for college admissions applications as well as scholarship applications. And we also help students who need help in math. Generally, that math class is somewhere between ninth grade math and college math, Calculus 1. So how can you connect with Scholar Ready? Okay, that's a good question. You can visit us at www.scholarready.com. It's Scholar Ready with just one R in the middle. You can sign up for a Scholar Readiness Assessment at scholarready.com. This is good for people who want to know, well, where do we start? How do we get started? When do we get started on this journey of preparing for higher education? And once you complete the assessment, it shouldn't take you long. It may take you 20 minutes. And once you do that, you'll have an opportunity to schedule a free 30-minute parent session with me, and we'll talk about where your student is, and we'll talk about your student's goals and your expectations of your student and how we can move forward to reach those goals. When you go to www.scholarready.com, visit the parent and student section, and that's how you will find the Scholar Readiness Assessment. For those of you who are interested in learning more about study skills, test taking skills, about scholarships, how to improve your math skills, how to improve your writing skills, different opportunities to hear me speak, different opportunities about different offers that Scholar Ready will offer, please text to our newsletter. Typically, the newsletter is released every other week. Typically, it's on a Thursday. Make sure that when you get your first newsletter, you add us to your safe senders list, because some folks, I understand, you have the bulk mail and the junk mail. We won't send you junk mail. And, there are blockers on that. But if you will text scholars, you need to text scholars in all caps. Scholars with an S at the end, SCHOLARS, to 22828, so you can start getting the newsletter. And that's how you'll learn more about tips and the latest videos that we'll be putting out, and even employment opportunities, all the things that we have happening within Scholar Ready. Please text it now. Don't write it down and do it later. Do it now. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer and just do it now. The newsletter is awesome. We use a newsletter as a way to talk with parents and talk with folks in the community about concerns relating to education, and some folks don't. Sometimes it's a matter of we don't know which questions to ask, and that's what Scholar Ready does. Scholar Ready fills in the gaps to address those questions that you may not know how to ask, but since we've been doing this since 2004, we have an understanding of what you should be looking for. Visual vocabulary is today's lesson. We're going to talk about the challenges of learning vocabulary, the importance of learning vocabulary, and a really neat way, which is visual vocabulary, to learn vocabulary words. Of course, you have the old school way of making flashcards and using the word in the sentence, but here's a way to connect images with words, which is very powerful for some students who are more visual learners. It's very powerful for students to be able to connect the word, let's say, bellicose, BELLICOSE, to a picture of a boxer, because bellicose describes a tendency to fight, and boxers have a tendency to fight. If you're here, you're probably here to learn more about how to prepare for the PSAT, SAT, and ACT, and vocabulary is a wonderful step to improving those scores. What is the purpose of these exams? Okay, the PSAT, which stands for preliminary SAT. The purpose of that exam is it's a gateway for merit-based scholarships. When students are juniors, and typically during October of the junior year, the test is administered. And that's when the test counts towards scholarships. Students may take the test as early as 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade in high school is when that test counts for scholarships. You have the National Merit Scholars Program, you have National Achievement Scholars, and you have National Hispanic Scholars. The National Merit Program is a scholarship program offered to all of the students taking the exam. National Achievement is open to students of African descent, and National Hispanic Scholars is for students of Hispanic descent. These are real scholarships. I've had students who became these types of scholars. I have a cousin who, I didn't prepare for the PSAT, but I had a cousin who prepared for the PSAT, and he's a National Merit Scholar, and he's actually attending college on a scholarship right now. He's at Northwestern University. I was a National Achievement something or another scholar. It was a very long time ago. And the University of Oklahoma waived my out-of-state tuition. And that's how I was able to graduate with only $1,000 in student loan debt. And the reason that I had the loan is because I wanted to buy plane tickets because I was 20. And that's what people do when they're 20. So that's the PSAT. The PSAT is for National Merit Scholarships. The SAT and the PSAT are nearly identical. They're a little different. The SAT is a little longer, but the SAT and the ACT, those exams are for college admissions, but also they're for scholarships to get in for those colleges. And if you'll find a school that you or your student is interested in attending, look at the scholarship awards that the colleges offer, and notice how often those really big scholarships, like 50% tuition and fees, a full ride, notice how those academic awards are tied to the test scores, tied to, of course, grade point average, class rank, and also the SAT and ACT scores. In fact, Baylor will tell you, hey, if you answer or if you boost your score this many points, we will give you X number more dollars. So there's a connection between the test scores and the scholarship money that a student can receive to go to college. Where is vocabulary on the PSAT and SAT? On the PSAT and SAT, you'll see it on the reading section. You'll see vocabulary on the writing and the language section. And remember, the points from the reading section and the writing and the language section comprise 50% of the total number of points a student can earn on the exam. Now, the essay does not count toward the cumulative score. However, some schools are asking to see the essay. I have a student right now who's applying to one of the service academies, and that particular service academy wants to see him improve his essay score. Now, the essay is a little different. The essay is different from the essays that we've seen in the past. It used to be the question would relate to, do you think students should be required to wear school uniforms if not? And then students would just write, oh, no, I don't, because it evades, it revokes a student's sense of style and personal freedom and all that. They stopped that. Now it's kind of in reverse, where the SAT will give the student the persuasive essay. Maybe someone is writing about maybe Jimmy Carter, for example. There's one essay where Jimmy Carter is writing in favor of preserving the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And he uses different rhetorical devices to convince the audience that his idea is a good idea, and the audience should take action based on his suggestions, based on his arguments. And the student will have to read that essay and understand and comprehend the words in the essay. And of course, you don't get dictionaries on the SAT. We'll have to understand those words and develop an essay in a very short amount of time about how persuasive Jimmy Carter is in getting his point across. And that's what, vocabulary, that's why vocabulary is so important. So you have reading and writing and language, which comprises of 50% of the total points on the exam. And of course, you have the essay, which sometimes people need it. And I have seniors right now who are in a bind because they have to improve that essay writing score. They didn't think that that would happen, but it did happen. We also see vocabulary on the ACT. We discussed vocabulary for the ACT. Let's talk about language vocabulary and not math vocabulary. For the math section is not listed on this slide. However, math includes its own kind of vocabulary on the ACT. Students need to review the concept of an integer, the concept of an undefined number. Students need to review what a real number is, a whole number, a natural number, a prime number, multiple factors. Numbers students may have learned in elementary school or middle school and need to revisit. But let us limit our discussion to more of the English vocabulary, language vocabulary related to English language. The ACT is comprised of 5 sections: reading, English, science, essay, and math. Take the reading, English, science, and math sections. The highest a student can score on each of those sections is a 36. Average the scores from reading, English, science, and math, and that is the score. That's the ACT composite score a student has earned for the ACT. The highest you can earn overall on the ACT is a 36. 3 sections, reading, English, science, comprise language. And those sections include vocabulary that students need to learn. Those sections include reading comprehension. Reading comprehension in the passages that are presented, also in the questions that are asked, and the multiple choice options that are available for the student to choose among. The essay does not count toward the cumulative score of the exam. However, reading, English, and science, those topics contribute to the score. 3/4 of a student's score will be based on comprehension. And even the math section is comprised of extensive, lengthy word problems, or as I like to call them, verbal opportunities, that require a student to comprehend the language. Why is it so difficult for students to learn vocabulary? Number one, students don't read. They don't read enough. The most a typical student in the state of Texas attending a public school in the state of Texas, the most that student reads during the school year is during the STAR or end of course exam. One day out of the year, that's the most students read all year. STAR is a basic minimum skills test. STAR is a test to maybe go to the next grade or get out of high school. However, when you start talking about college entrance exams, that means that your goal is to enter college. Finishing high school and entering college are 2 distinct endeavors. Another challenge to learning vocabulary is that students start preparing too late for the exam. Students need to start taking these exams and start taking them seriously by no later than 11th grade. Because if you can take the exam by the 11th grade, a student can evaluate where he or she is strong. He or she can evaluate where the weaknesses are and prepare accordingly. Another challenge to building a vocabulary is the fact that students don't write enough. And when you write, The goal is to convey an idea or an expression or an argument to an audience. And usually audiences have short attention spans, and it's best to work on being concise. And students usually don't have the experience or the expertise to find the right word, the correct word, the best word to convey an idea. Where can students find SAT level vocabulary? When I say SAT level vocabulary, that is going to include PSAT level vocabulary and also ACT. ACT level vocabulary is not as complex as the level vocabulary that students will see on the SAT or PSAT. Therefore, if students learn the vocabulary required for PSAT and SAT, he or she should be okay for the ACT. Here are some resources for you to find those types of vocabulary words. The first resource is collegeboard.org. 8 practice tests appear on the website. And as you are studying, when you practice those questions and practice reading those passages and practice the questions about grammar, words, you'll see words that you may not understand. Write those on paper and keep them for later. And use those words to later you'll go and you'll define those and you'll use those words for visual vocabulary. Another source for vocabulary is EnglishForEveryone.org. They have a number of worksheets about the writers on that website share a number of worksheets. One of them is a sentence completion worksheet or a set of sentence completion worksheets. Another offering is a set of word definition worksheets. So how does visual vocabulary work? Okay, it's easy. It's easy. You choose your word, and you illustrate your word, and you can connect your illustration with the word. Now, when I say illustrate the word, you could find a word and you can draw a picture of it. For example, the word acerbic, ACERBIC. It means bitter. Maybe you want to draw a picture of a lemon. A lemon is bitter. There you go. It's and that's your illustration. And then you connect your illustration with the word. So you write a sentence. A lemon is acerbic because it is bitter. Visual vocabulary, and you can place those on index cards. You can do them in you can put them in a document on your phone, on your smartphone, and when you're somewhere and you have time on your hands, you can go through and flip through those words as if they are flashcards. So here are some examples of visual vocabulary. Candor. Okay, candor. 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 Here's a picture of the family. They're all gathered around the table. It looks like for Thanksgiving. And I can always expect my family's unfiltered honesty. And that's candor. When you go to Thanksgiving and maybe you put on some pounds, or maybe you have a new hairstyle that your family doesn't like, you can always be sure that someone in your family is going to be there to offer candor. Another word, expenditure. Here's a lady in a market. It looks like she's considering what to buy. Expenditure. The lady is calculating how much she will spend at this market, because an expenditure is a measure of how much you spend. Satiated means being full. And when you look at this picture, you see the green beans, you see the turkey, you see the dressing, you see the mashed potatoes and the gravy. It looks like we have some cranberry sauce. And if you look way back there, a little piece looks like there's a roll somewhere. If you eat all of this food on this table, you will be satiated. You probably will never need to eat again. Satiated. After eating all of the food in this picture, I was full and cannot imagine eating again. Satiated. Next. Opine. Here's our last word, opine. Every football fan expresses an opinion about the quarterback, what the quarterback should have done. So you have those, what do we call them, Monday morning quarterbacks who criticize what, what the football players do on the field. And they opine. Those folks are sharing their opinions. Thank you for attending today's lesson, and make sure that you continue connecting with ScholarReady. If you still have questions about what you've seen in this video, go to scholarready.com and sign up for a Scholar Readiness Assessment, and you can schedule a free 30-minute parent session. You can schedule in the morning or the afternoon, and these sessions will be over the phone. Also connect with ScholarReady by texting scholars. Again, text scholars in all caps, SCHOLARS to 22828. And of course, standard text messaging rates do apply. Thank you for visiting ScholarReady, where it's time for your next level. I'm Jennifer Ledwith, the director, and I look forward to seeing you soon.